started again. Here we are, the fall kickoff session. Thanks for coming throughout the presentation. If you have any questions, please use the chat or Q&A feature. I will stop before I go into the demo of the platform to answer any questions you may have. A little bit about myself. My name is Deborah Oberding. I am the Community Success Consultant here at Yellowdig. Before my role as Community Success Consultant, I was an instructor in the School of Education for 20 plus years. From that role, I positioned into an instructional design role. And most recently, before coming to Yellowdig, I was the educational technologist for about 3.5 years. So through all those hats I wore, really looked at creating community, whether it was online, face-to-face, or hybrid class. Tried a variety of things, but was never as successful as I wanted it to be. So needless to say, when I found Yellowdig, it pretty much met all of my goals as far as creating community in my courses. So our agenda for today, and again, if you'd like to introduce yourself in the chat, please feel free to. Our agenda for today, introductions, which we just talked about. We'll review the Yellowdig design and pedagogy principles. We'll go into the platform. We'll talk about getting ready, setting up expectations with the students, motivation, and then your presence, and also informing your teaching with the data that we can find or you can find in the platform itself. And then we'll have time at the end for questions. Get in touch. One thing I would like to talk about to begin with, if you haven't taken the certification course, please do so. This is a great foundation piece with everything Yellowdig. It gives us that our mission, it gives us kind of the mindset of how Yellowdig works as a community builder. It is an hour, but you can break it up into small pieces of 10, 15 minutes. Additional resources we have a knowledge-based one-stop shop really for any questions or pedagogy or technology questions you may have. This is at help.yellowdig.co, but also you can find it within the platform, and I will point that out when we get there. Any technical issues that you or your students have, please encourage them to use our support at yellowdig.com. We do have monthly office hours. This is a great time to chat about everything Yellowdig. It's fun to brainstorm different ideas you may have, questions you may have. We are there to do just that, to help you out, to make Yellowdig successful and fun for you and your students. And then, as I mentioned previously, the instructor course. Okay, we'll jump right into the educational experience that we're all working to give our students. And within that, we're looking at 3 aspects of that experience: cognitive, teaching, and presence. When you think about the cognitive aspect, it's those activities, those assignments that we create in order to meet that learning objective, right? To teach the students. And then our teaching presence is basically implementing those activities and assignments and building on that content to create a meaningful learning experience for the students. That's the teacher's presence, is just that. But the social presence is what sometimes is missing. And that being, even though they may be physically in a classroom, studying by other students, when do they actually have that time to talk about content, to expand on the content? They may expand on the content with you, the instructor, but with each other. And so here at Yellowdig, we really know how important that is, because so much learning takes place when you can connect it to real life. And you can bring in real life situations to add to the content, if you will, to the course. So we look at Yellowdig. Let's see, excuse me, I went one too many over. Okay, hold on here. Here we go. The social presence, as I said, sometimes it's missing. So when we look at how that social presence adds to the learning of the content, we know that tools without students being motivated to use them, they won't be involved in the social aspect of it. But if a platform such as Yellowdig is fun to use, it's inviting to use, it's easy to use, we see that social presence increasing. So if you look at a typical a typical social assignment, aka a discussion board, you see the students all come at the end of the week. Look at the instructor here. The instructor is posting a discussion question. All the students are really just answering what the instructor wants them to do. It's an assignment so they can check it off, right? Post by Wednesday, reply to 2 by Sunday. So they're coming in post, they're coming in then at the end of the week to basically reply to 2. But when you think about that, you're not grading their comments. You're just like checking it off. Okay, they did that. They're not really conversing or expanding or developing that content. They're answering the question that you, the instructor, want them to answer. And so you're reading that over and over and over and over again. But is there any organic conversation? I would probably be safe to say no. And you see this go-getter coming in early in the week and then basically learning like there's no one to talk to. So I should just follow the crowd and come in later in the week. But Yellowdig rewards those students that come in earlier with our gainful point system. Here's a Yellowdig community. So let's look at our symbols again here. We see the instructor intertwined in the community, not always at the beginning. We see students starting conversations, right? We see the procrastinator and the go-getter involved in that conversation. We see this dotted line shows maybe a topic in week 1 is brought back and talked about again in week 3. Okay, maybe the student has a question, and what better way to show a true understanding but to understand the question, ask the question, and expand on that question, as these students could be doing. So much more of organic conversation that really invites and encourages a community of learners to share and to add content to the course. By the way, this is my favorite slide. Okay, as we discussed, we're going to talk about getting started reminders, okay? 3 easy things to keep in mind, and those are in the yellow text there, black text, I guess, with the yellow outline. Remember that Yellowdig is a single assignment throughout the entire course, right? The beginning date that you set is the first date you would like the students to be able to use the community. The end date is the date you would like the students, the last day that you would like the students to be able to use that community. And most students, the access issues are related maybe to their text settings, or it may be that they have not gone into, if it's connected with the LMS system, they have not clicked on the Yellowdig assignment link. Because once that happens for you and the students, basically the LMS system is now talking to Yellowdig. So in order for that connection to happen, they have to click on the assignment link that was made for Yellowdig if you are integrating it in your LMS. And that's what this right here. No need to send them individual invites. By the way, avoid using that. They will be invited per se when they click on that link. Not even invited, they'll be connected. Let's go with that. We have so many recent releases that have materialized really probably since April, many since I have been here. So it's pretty exciting. Point management. So we have placing, addition and subtracting points in time. There's the log improvement that shows the point adjustment more clearly to the students. We have sortable tables. We do have, if your university has not integrated with LTI 1.3, please let us know and we can make that happen. It just gives a lot more features and integration in a way that helps you as an instructor and the students. Also, we now have Canvas groups that are made in Canvas automatically pass into Yellowdig from Canvas. So if you have made Canvas groups or set up groups in Canvas and you want those same groups to be in Yellowdig, that can automatically happen now. And that's pretty exciting because so many of us, don't have to do that twice then. It just integrates right in. We also have recently released some display and warnings. And what I mean by that, so features that, for instance, if you give a post an accolade, that goes to the top. It displays that quality conversation. Accolade is like a badge or bonus points because of something great a student added to a conversation. So the post link also is more visible and understandable by the student. So a lot of behind the scenes work is going on at Yellowdig constantly. So today we're going to talk about 4 ways a Yellowdig community improves your course. And those 4 ways are motivation, course relevance, instructor presence, and data to inform teaching. Okay, so a few reminders before we get into the platform. Getting started reminders. With a single community, remember, it is one assignment that is a semester long. We encourage that to be, of course, the one link and not placed in every module, but placed, let's say, where you have the getting started information, where the syllabus is, so forth. You're going to have your Yellowdig community link there. Again, most student access issues are related to their settings or that they have not clicked on the assignment link in Canvas, the Yellowdig assignment link. And remember not to invite your students through an invite, but yet using that connection or integration with Canvas or your LMS and Yellowdig. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the platform. Okay, I'll take this time to see if we have any questions. Okay, we do not. Okay, let's look at Yellowdig. So here's Yellowdig. As I mentioned earlier, it is a single scroll feed. It looks like social media, but it is not. You can see the ease of, or I should say the connection to social media that the students may have. So the learning curve for students is quite low because of their familiarity with social media, of course. Okay. I'm going to talk about the points in Yellowdig. First of all, if you go to this right here, you will see the earning points and how that is broken down. We would suggest to use the default settings that we have here because they are research-based and tested, and especially the first time you use Yellowdig. Moving forward after that, you do have the option to customize your points. One thing that, as we talked about earlier, is the social points that are rewarded in Yellowdig for receiving a comment from another user or receiving a reaction from another user, because that's basically motivating, as we talked about, the student to come in early, post quality content that others will comment or react on, right? If a student comes in early and posts, but it's getting no other comments, no one's really adding to that, that's a good time maybe even to suggest to the student or have that side conversation about the quality of their post. Are they really bringing in something that adds to the community in a way that others want to comment or react to it. So that's that motivation feature as far as the gainful points. Another motivation feature that I want to talk about is accolades. Accolades are badges, if you will, bonus points that are given to students for whatever you'd like. You can create new accolades. Taught me something new, 100 points, helpful. What is this doing? This is a way you can be a guide on the side, your presence, and also motivate the students. So it's really twofold. Community building. Maybe they're adding some great question, because we know with all great questions, especially if you see a student asking a wonderful question and other students are jumping in to explain their answer to it. There's so much learning on so many levels that are taking place in your community at that time. You can discard any of these by deleting them. You can create new ones. You can adjust the points for each. But again, it is a great way to motivate students because they know and they can see by this widget in the platform right here, who's getting accolades and for what reason. Okay, so motivation, as I talked about before, twofold. The gainful point learning goes into motivate the students because they're getting it early. Then they'll get comments and reactions if it's quality post. Another motivation feature in Yellowdig is the accolades. Okay. We also talked about course relevance. So when you get into your community, you will see this. Setting up your community. And really, it can be and is as simple as 4 steps. The first one being your start and end date. All right. And I would take a look at this to see how your periods are broken out. The second one is creating your topics. And we're going to go into that next. That meaning course relevance, right? This is how you guide those conversations to be course relevant, to be about the topics of the course, to be about the topics you want them to be talking about. Okay, so this is where, and these are some default ones we have, or actually I shouldn't say default ones, these are in our demo community. But let's take a look. You have, so if you look at your learning objective for the week, as an instructional designer, we were all about weekly learning objectives, and then we use what we call the backward design to break down the activities to meet those learning objectives. And so when I think about that, we could deconstruct that learning objective and pick out those key words or topics that would be our topic tags. And then you can, we suggest to make topics required. It is an option, but it's a very good default setting that I would recommend to keep. Now, you can organize your topic tags so the students see these first 6 when they go to create a post. You can disable a topic tag for no longer getting points. And what I mean by that, let's look at one. For instance, introduction. That's one you would like them to use probably the first week of the class. But after that, you don't want them to get points for introducing themselves anymore. So what you can do is go in and click this topic disable and save changes. Okay. And from that, you will see you now have a dotted line around the topic. And I would, inform the students, they can still use this, but they won't get points for it. Maybe they want to use this with another topic that they will get points for. So, and again, point earning disabled, save changes. And once you do that, they will no longer get points for that. I would suggest doing this rather than removing that topic tag, because again, like we said, even though you talk about stress and health psychology in week 1, bring it back in week 3 to connect it to the topics you're talking about then. So that's the second thing you do when creating your community. The third thing, step 3 of 4, is our best practices when starting your community. Introduce yourself and really set expectations. And there are many resources in the knowledge-based articles that talk about setting expectations. There's even a script, excuse me, that you can use to introduce yourself at the beginning and give them a quick overview of Yellowdig and everything about Yellowdig. Model the conversations you'd like to see. And again, we encourage commenting more than just posting, because as we know, in discussion boards, everyone's posting the same thing. But when you see a great comment, reply to it, or you see a great post, comment on it with maybe bringing in another article that has to do with the same thing. And when you comment on it, it will bring it to the top. Acknowledge exceptional contributions in a way of commenting, in a way of giving it an accolade. So these short videos are really helpful in setting up your community by using best practices. And again, the certification course that I talked about in the beginning, very important as well. Okay, so step 4, make sure you communicate the purpose of your community. And like I said, here's a script you may want to use. There's also a syllabus template that you can put into your syllabus to explain Yellowdig and how the points work. By the way, when the students come into this learning platform, they will also have not a 4-step thing like this, but they'll have one that will tell them about using Yellowdig and the community that they're ready to join. So, okay, so we've talked about motivation. We've talked about the points, getting started. I want to go into the data feature as well. Okay, let me check to make sure we don't have any. No, we do not. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Okay, so the data feature, let's look. Community health. Okay. So if we go to community health, there, and as I said, there is information right at your fingertips to help you see how healthy your community is. So in Yellowdig, we are looking for a ratio, which means comments per post at 5 or greater. This has 3. Demo community, we're not doing that great in our demo community, but you'll notice that total comments, total posts, we love to see comments more than posts. It's telling us that the instructor is not posting a weekly prompt, and B, students are reading others and they are commenting on them, expanding on the knowledge, really developing more content for the course, if you will. And so you can see how this is broke down in weekly data. You can also use it from a specific week if you want to break it down that way. I love this topic feature. As we talked about using topics for course relevance, you can see which ones are being used more. You can see here, you may want to touch on research and ethics more, only 17%, whereas motivation and emotion has 33% of the total posts have that. Again, if they're overusing or we've talked enough about a topic, that's when you can go in and disable the points for that topic, and it will have that dotted line around it. They can still use it, but no longer get points, and encourage the other topic tags. Again, you can see the activity per user. Notice Grace here looks like she has a wealth of knowledge in agency and self-determination. Maybe her day job. She works with that a lot. And so maybe asking her if she'd like to do a Zoom session for the class because of her real life experience she could bring in about that topic. So this really informs your teaching in a way by seeing which topics have been involved in a lot of posts and which ones have not. Okay. Another feature, let's see, I want to go up to the health check right here. So again, this is all found in community health. So these are our best practices. So obviously this demo community, to set a weekly reset day to a day other than Sunday, just for the simple fact, we here at Yellowdig really encourage you to do what you can do to get students away from the discussion board mindset. And that is one of those key things that we encourage to do. Enable points, giving points. These are all the best practices, and you can click on them as well and get more information about them. But it's right at your fingertip again under health check, under the community health. Okay. From here, again, another piece of data that shows how your community is doing. When you look at this interacting score, are those comments, if you will. This is more the reaction, and the sharing is more posting. So you can imagine, again, this is demo, we're not doing the deaths, but you can imagine why we would want these two to be higher than this one here. Because if you're doing weekly posts still, this will probably be high. You can look to see what the meaning of all this data is by clicking on these question marks, and it will explain it even further. So much data. A couple new features that I talked about in the beginning. We have points reports now. You can download a point log, point summary. You can go to a members report, excuse me, or community report. Have a tickle. You can select members, one or two or all, and adjust their points. This is really handy for, say, let's say you have a week off Thanksgiving break, and you don't, they probably won't be in Yellowdig. Maybe they will. In an ideal situation, they would continue to, but and you want to give them kind of basically free points for that week, right? So it doesn't affect their grade. And now you can do that with one click of a button. Again, this is a breakdown of the ones I just showed you there. To click and generate a report here, community report, and the next one. Okay, network graph. Still under data right here on the left side. This is a great visual. You can look at the involvement and the activity of your students in your community. When you see these on the outside here, not very active or involved in the community, great reminder just to reach out, make sure they're doing okay. Maybe they have, something they need to talk about, but are a little shy about that. So, and then here we can see how involved these members are. It tells you the information when you hover over their picture. You can also get all of this information in table format, number of incoming connections, percentage, number of outcoming. So you can really see all of this as a visual or as in a table. Most recent connection. This again is all found under the data topic over here in the left hand. So just a quick little reminder, getting started is where we saw the 4 steps to create your community, which you will be introduced to the minute you come into your community. The settings is where we talked about topics and accolades. And there is also, which is something to point out, notification feature. So this is the default setting. We do not have these clicked on because depending on your role in the community, you may not want to be notified when someone posts every time in a community by email or within the app. If you are notified in the app, you will see a number over here by this bell. Okay. We also, a couple of management features we do have. Flag post is an option. If you see a post that you want to flag for a different reason, you can do that. And it shows you, here's an example of that. You will flag it, pick down in a Dropbox why you flagged it, and then that information goes to the students of why it was flagged. Okay. You also can word block if you need to, as a type of management tool within the community. Okay, going back, there's just so much to talk about. So I did want to touch on the post editor. And why I'm thinking of it, I did mention all of the resources we have as far as the knowledge base articles. You can find them by clicking on this question mark right here, and you'll see all of the articles about everything Yellowdig. New features coming up in Yellowdig. Click on this gift. Our latest is integrating with Blackboard, the new Accolade widget, which we talked about earlier, new and improved post editor, which we're going to talk about here shortly, and students' introduction to Yellowdig. This shows you what they see when they come into Yellowdig. Also, we talked about topics without points and how you set that. So these are a few of our newest features, which you can definitely take a look, and we're updating this frequently. Okay, one thing I did want to touch on, actually a couple things. I did want to look at or show you the filter aspect in Yellowdig. So you can filter by any of these categories: topic, member, date, accolade, hashtag, group, or more than one. Maybe you want to filter by topic during a certain time period. Students have this option too, right? Maybe you want to search by or filter by verified response. Every conversation that got a verified response. This would, to me, would be good to use, tell the students this, and then basically it could be a study guide, because every time you saw something that was connecting to the topic that really they need to tune in on and focus for a quiz, let's say, that would be a great way to use a verified response. Okay, then you can remove that. Another feature you can sort by recent post, by active post. You can also, if you go right here, you can do all of these things, of course, but the one I'm going to point out today is copy the permalink. So if there is an above average, kind of a great, basically, conversation going on that you want to highlight in your announcements or in a newsletter or in class or in here, you can copy the permalink to that conversation. And like you saw, I'll show you that again. You'll see the URL link, and then that will give you the link to post wherever you would like to. A couple other features, reactions. Here's your accolade. You can manage points. Here's where you flag a post. Here's where you bookmark. You can bookmark posts and then come over here and you'll have all your bookmark posts right there. A lot of organization features in Yellowdig that you will be, I think, pleased when you see how those features work and why. Okay, let's look at creating a post. Again, any questions? It doesn't look like it. Okay. Okay. So our post editor was updated in April, I believe. So let's take a look. As I suggested, adding a topic or two to your post. Your student will title the post. Here is where the post will be placed. And you'll see the word count at the bottom. As they get closer or to the end, actually, it will turn green. Notice the features here, which are similar to what you have seen before, probably in Word docs. All right. Attach. These are the choices for attaching. They can record a 90-second video. And again, we encourage you to record a video as part of the introduction. a wealth of emojis, which they can use. Love this, a draw feature, which is you can upload a background image and draw on it, to highlight different parts of, let's see, different parts of the brain, maybe, parts of the back, maybe if it's a chiropractic class. You can create a poll with your options here. Formula for those STEM classes. And if you look down here, discard this, you will see how the poll feature was used. And look how vibrant this community looks, how the poll feature is used, and what it looks like when a student or you chooses to use that. There is at mention to bring it, if you're commenting on another person's post and you want to include them, you have the at mentioned, or you can add admin, and that will notify the admins in your course. So again, so many features. Do you also have this mark as read right here? And one other thing I wanted to point out when creating a post, look at this. I guess it looks more like a ghost up here. A student can make a post anonymously. And the reason we have that is students may come in a little shy. They may be worried about their post and if they're sounding right, whatever the case may be. They just may have a little anxiety about it. So they can choose to use this. You will know who it is, and they will still get points on their posts as well. But it's a nice feature when the students are getting used to the platform, and maybe they're freshmen or not, and they're just trying to figure a lot of things out. So I don't know. It's a great feature. If you see a need for it, that it is there for them. So. Okay, let's take a little break here to see if there are any questions. Or if you'd like to put in the chat, if you'd like me to show you some more features, something you didn't quite understand. And here is a breakdown of the point system in another format, basically, and this is under settings, point system. And again, the default setting to the grade, pass the grades to your grade book. You can set up reminders. And again, this is a default setting, so they will get reminders, but you can change this if you would like, which shows or sends an email. If there was no activity for 5 days, send an email every 7 days after the first notification. So again, you can change that. Here is a sample notification. It looks like you haven't participated in a while. Other members are missing you. Jump back in with some conversation. And they give you the link. Very informative. Okay, we are about 20 minutes ahead of schedule. I have talked a lot quickly. So if you have any other questions or comments, please put them in the chat. I'd love to hear maybe the content area that you teach in. Any College of Education instructors out there? Okay. Okay, I am going to put my email address in the chat. So if you have any questions about what I talked about today, or you need clarity on anything, please, let me know. Again, we are here to help, and happy yellow digging. Have a good day.